guys? Welcome back to another episode of Classic City Locks. Exciting first week. Very excited to see where the season goes from here. We had some good games there. Got a lot to break down with y'all on last week's games and then what we got coming up on Saturday for y'all. So, Wes, let's just jump straight into it. I'll let you start for us. Let's talk about how our mid-major teams did because I think that there were two very different stories for opening week here.
Yeah, and if you guys forget, this is a segment where Mike and I picked some mid-tier teams in each conference, and my teams went a combined 1-3. We had West Virginia going down to Penn State. That one was kind of expected. We had Texas A&M losing as a favorite at home to Notre Dame, and we had Virginia Tech losing to Vanderbilt as a 13 and a half point favorite.
Say it again.
Wisconsin won
Who
for
did they
me.
lose to?
Vanderbilt.
That's right. In that unfinished stadium.
Yeah. Well, that was packed though. That was a good crowd from the Vandy alum, the
For
Vandy
real.
faithful. Mike, how
Yeah,
did your
shout out
team
to them.
do?
I had a great opening week. Missouri, easy dub. UNC with a amazing dub. They took out Minnesota with a game, or Minnesota had a chance to win it with a game-winning, game-ending, time-expired field goal, and they missed it, and they set off the fireworks like they made it. So UNC escaped with a win on the road there. Arizona scored like 5 million points, but also let some random team score like 39. So a little concerning there. And Washington got the dub. So I went 4 for 4 there.
And it's a long season. That's all I gotta
It
say.
is. It
Well,
is
in
honestly.
Pick'em, our top 25 Pick'em, Mike and I were actually exactly the same. 13 out of 23 for picks last week and a nice 56%. Looking for a little bit of improvement this next week, though.
Yeah, I ended the week on a 5 game slide and I switched my FSU pick at the last minute, and we'll talk about that later. Just
Yeah.
a lot to break down there. Um, but yeah, just a quick little recap of some things that we thought were interesting from this week that we've noticed. Number one, obviously we got to talk about Florida State's collapse. I mean, have we ever seen something like this
Unprecedented.
before? It's
No.
crazy. It's crazy. I mean, what do you say to these guys in the locker room?
I don't know there's anything you can say. I mean, you just looked at a playoff, caliber team going now to just try and win some games, like make a bowl
Yeah,
game, not even make the playoff. I mean,
they're 0-2 against ACC opponents. These aren't nobody teams. Like these
this
are
was the ACC favorite
yeah,
to win the conference is at the
insane.
beginning of the season. Just unbelievable. And then
I think
Florida.
Florida, the state of Florida outside of Miami, has really started the year off not with a bang but a whimper. I mean, that was pathetic. Florida's first home opener loss since 1989, and
It wasn't just a loss, it was a skull
it was bad.
dragging.
Cam Ward
Yeah.
didn't even look like he was struggling. I mean, he was relaxed. I mean, he passed on them all day. He ran. He didn't even really need to run. I didn't know he could run, but he did it all day. It was miserable. So they got to make some changes there. We're gonna see Lagway. Maybe he's the answer they need. I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're in deep trouble.
Yeah, I think Napier's probably gone at the end of the season for them, unfortunately, but hate to see it. And then our tried and true, the dogs, absolutely just blew Clemson out of the water.
Hmm.
Thank you, Hunter, for joining us last week. We will probably not be having you back until Clemson is relevant again. I'm just joking. It was great having you. It was a good game, and Georgia, went out and just came away with a win.
Yeah, I will say on that, Clemson's defense, I think they're legit. Offense never gave them a chance to rest.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you got to play Georgia for 4 quarters. That's what we've been saying.
And hey, look, I mean, the ACC is now wide open. You got a juggernaut in Miami,
Yeah.
it seems like, but Clemson could, they're still undefeated in conference play, so
Yeah,
still look out for them.
they got a legit team, but man, Georgia is deep. I mean, there are so many options on that team.
That
So
was without their best running back and best cornerback too. So
yeah, crazy. And second best running back. Both of them were out.
yeah,
Crazy. So that was a great game. And then USC LSU, another really fun game. That was on
game of the week.
Sunday.
That
So
was
that
exciting.
yeah, that was a great game. I think that was stellar QB play on both sides of the ball. Brian Kelly was the thing that really frustrated me from that game is he does not take accountability, or he's always blaming people, complaining, causing a
He's
fit.
pounding the table in the press conference.
Ridiculous. I mean, you just played a team that has a very potent offense, a pretty good coach, and Nussmeier had a great game. He had a great game. I think
Yeah.
that just one of those teams had to win, and both of those defenses, there are problems on both those defenses. But come on, man.
USC's defense actually is very improved from what it was last
It,
season.
I
I was
mean, yeah,
pleasantly surprised.
it has come a long way from last season, but that was a pretty low floor. I feel like, or
That's
low
fair.
ceiling,
That's
whatever.
fair. Well, what are
Um,
we looking forward to this week, Mike?
but this week, obviously, you got the headline game. I think game day's going there. Texas is going into play Michigan. They're sitting around a 7 point favorite on the road. I think that's going to be a great game. I think Texas is really legit. Sark is a great coach. Ewers is good, and that is talk about another deep team. I like Texas to win here. I really did not like what I saw from Michigan. I mean, they ended up winning 30-10, but they struggled against Fresno.
Oh
They
yeah.
looked confused, out of whack. I think they lost too many pieces and they lost Harbaugh. So I'm gonna take Texas here.
Yeah, and we got a 7.5 line in Pick'em, so I'm gonna actually roll with the Wolverines in this one. I think this is kind of a classic week one. You really like Texas, you really don't like Michigan, and you go in predicting this based off how they played the last week. Well, it's a new game,
Yeah.
They can come out and look just phenomenal this week. Maybe they were just figuring it out last week. I think that how the big house is gonna be rocking. I mean, I think 7.5 away is just too many points.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go with Michigan in this one.
I think we said the exact same thing about Florida State. It's a new week, new game. So, but yeah,
Yeah, but
probably not.
yeah, they're very different circumstances, I will say, but fair enough.
So that should be a
And then
great
we
game.
can,
Who
yeah,
we got next, Wes?
our next big game of the week is Tennessee going into Charlotte, I believe, neutral site against NC State. Tennessee is a 7.5 point favorite for us right here. I'm gonna roll with the Vols. NC State, they did look rough last week, but I think they're a solid team. I've heard, they've had this game circled for a while, but I just think that Tennessee offense is too powerful, man. I see them throwing the ball downfield. I see them running down the throat. Like I just like the Volunteers in this one to cover.
I'm gonna go with you here for not much to add here. Just, I mean, they handily won that game, and Nico looks good. They're clicking at the wide receiver position there in QB, and I feel like Heupel's done a pretty good job with that in recent times. So I expect that to continue going, and I expect them to get a dub here against NC State as well.
Nice.
Up next, we have one of our favorite games, Iowa State at Iowa. Just you never know what you're going to get from this game. Iowa's a 2.5 point favorite here with the stud QB Cade McNamara at the helm. They did win what, like 40-0 last week, but they were only up by 6 at halftime.
Yep, that's exactly right. I got some concerns on this Iowa team. I actually am going to roll with Iowa State in this one. Nobody is talking about Iowa State. I think people have Iowa in their minds as like a sleeper or, Big Ten solid team. But Iowa State, Iowa has dominated this matchup in the past. Iowa State last year it was kind of like this. It was a close game, or it was supposed to be a close game, and then Iowa just kind of blew them out of the water. I think Iowa State's angry. I think they're finally close enough that they could scratch within 2.5, maybe even win the game. So
I'm going to stick with Iowa here. I know not very exciting. I'm picking all the favorites, but this one's basically a coin flip. I just think at home, rivalry game. And as much as I'm not a huge Cade McNamara fan, he does bring, some veteranness to that position. And I don't know, just with that small of a line, I think I'm going to stick with the home favorite here. They did win 40-0. They might have started slow, but they won 40-0.
I just think it's crazy that if they were playing this game on a neutral site, that it would basically be a straight pick 'em. You would not have a
Yeah, yeah,
line.
it would be. It's crazy. I think that Iowa's defense is still like
Oh,
still take
yeah,
care of business. So,
for sure.
next up, I think personally, Hunter's going to be upset with how much we dunk on Clemson this video. But App State is playing at Clemson. They're giving App State 17.5 points. Um, I'm taking the Mountaineers here. I mean, they are a fun team. We saw some crazy stuff out of them last year, and I think they're going to continue that into this year against a Clemson team that I think there's enough question marks to where if you give us 17 and a half, I'm going to take that.
Yeah, I think there's this is kind of a circle game upset. Not, everyone likes this line. I think there's a reason why. Clemson should be looking to recover, and we could say like you just got destroyed, like you're going to go out and beat the pulp out of somebody. But look at Florida State. We thought the same thing, and then they just went out and lost. So I don't think this year's kind of turning into a anything can happen year.
Hmm.
I like the Mountaineers in this one as well.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a good slate this week. Not as many top tier matchups, but Texas Michigan's going to be great. Tennessee NC State I think will be a sneaky good game, and I'm excited to see App State go and win in Death Valley.
Yeah, it should be another great week. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.